Hello, guys. I'm very excited today to welcome William on the channel. William is the founder and CEO of Mirascope, which is a Python toolkit for building with LLMs. I already have covered Mirascope on the channel a few weeks back, and I would highly recommend the tool. And I will also drop the link to that video and this video's description. But in this fireside chat, I'm just looking to learn more about William, about his tools, about his background, and the objective is to get some ideas as how we mere mortals can follow the footsteps of pioneers like William. I'm not trying to embarrass you, William. Look, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy guy. By the way, William is based in LA in US, and I'm based in Sydney, Australia. So, William, thanks again. Please tell us what exactly sparked your interest in AI. What is your background? Whatever you would like to tell us about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. Yeah, what sparked my interest in AI, I applied to Stanford actually as an East Asian Studies major. Um, and when I got there, took my first computer science class, fell in love with it, started digging down deeper into like operating systems, things like that. Decided I was more of a kind of math probability person and less of like systems engineering, which was fun, but turns out AI is mostly just math and probability. So ended up kind of gravitating towards that. Felt like I didn't have enough time during my undergrad to take every class I could in the space. So stayed for a master's focused on AI and theoretical computer science. Yeah, ended up going to Google from there, doing a lot of interpretable machine learning research. So big focus on like constrained optimization.
Awesome.
And yeah, that was fun, but decided to leave, start my own company. Was doing constrained optimization uh, as a service and with some open source packages, and then GPT 3.5 came out, and I think that kind of changed things. My background was more traditional machine learning,
Yeah.
and so we tried integrating GPT 3.5 into our tool, and yeah, I think what we ended up building internally, which is now Mirascope, was more useful than what we had been building previously. So now we're just focused mostly on Mirascope and
Awesome.
building that out as best we can.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get to Mirascope, of course. So, have you spent all of your time in LA?
No, I'm originally from New York.
Yeah.
Came out west to go to school, and then moved down to LA during COVID when I was working remotely.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So let's talk about Mirascope a bit. I have played around with it. A huge fan, by the way. Awesome tool. So how does Mirascope make building with LLM feel like writing Python? That is your tagline. And also, what are some of the key benefits for the developers?
Yeah. Well, we originally started building Mirascope internally to solve some of the problems we had ourselves with working with the raw SDKs. They're good. It's just that they're auto-generated. That means that they can define like an API spec and get 6 SDKs in 6 different languages, but inevitably that means that the SDK is not tuned to any specific language. It's just generated from the API. There's a lot to do on top of these APIs to build more complex applications, and so we started building convenience tooling internally around that, and that kind of just turned into our own internal library. We really care
Okay.
about it feeling Pythonic. The
Yeah.
idea there is that instead of introducing like new syntax or new AI functions to Python, it was just build like we would if we were building with Python. And I think holding true to that principle has helped us build a pretty like modular and flexible toolkit.
Awesome. And you recently have released Eddy, another tool, which is a CLI terminal for chatting with LLMs, and I also covered it on my channel. Um, so in the future, do you foresee integrating both Eddy and Mirascope?
So Eddy is built using Mirascope, and the main goal with Eddy is just to showcase different use cases for how you might use Mirascope to build a real-world AI-powered application.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So look, this Mirascope and Eddie, both of them are more developer oriented, and objective is also to make developers' life easier. But as we see that now and these days, like Mistral has released that model CodeStrawl, and there are a lot of coding models. Even if you use GPT-4o, that can write code very well. So there is a lot of anxiety among developers, especially here in Sydney, in Australia, where I am right now, that they are going to lose their jobs. So, how do you see the future of Mirascope if there are no developers in the world?
Um, well, I think one, we're actually quite a ways away from that. The reason I say that is that, like, while they're good at coding in certain ways, it still needs a lot of guidance. I see it more as having access to something that can quickly generate kind of a lot of the boilerplate, but it's not removing computer science, right? Coding is just a means to an end. And if I can code faster because it can generate a lot of the boilerplate for me, that's great. But it's not, a fully reasoning system that's going and building a full architected, well-designed tool. It's especially difficult to build tools for other engineers. So, I think the second part of that is that the AIs need tools to use to build your thing. So if we can build the right tools, then in the future, hopefully AIs can generate really high quality code because we've designed our tools and documented it well enough for the AIs to use it effectively.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, that's actually quite hopeful. So, I think the great answer. Thank you for that. Um, Now, just staying on that topic, what do you think that the new developers or the seasoned developers who are used to of building the old way, how should they adapt to this new era of AI assisted coding?
Yeah, I think it's still the Wild West, but I think it's worth just playing around with it. The thing I've noticed is that everyone codes a little bit differently and has different ideas for the way things should be.
Yeah,
Um, so inevitably, you're going to have to learn how to, one, get it to generate better code from the start, but also, take it with a grain of salt and get good at massaging it into the right format. I've noticed there are things that it doesn't do well, so I don't ask it for those things, but I often ask it for the things that I've identified it does do well, which tend to be on the simpler side.
cool, cool. And so you have been working with this Mirascope, and I see that you're quite active on social media too. Have you seen any surprising use cases for Mirascope as of yet?
Surprising use cases. Let's see. I think Plastic Labs is doing some pretty cool stuff with Honcho, which does, they're trying to build like a user personalization memory system that you can, one, easily integrate with Mirascope, but I think they're also using Mirascope internally. It's been cool to see what they're doing. A lot of focus on like psychology, um, and how we can really
Cool.
like personalize responses best to users.
Awesome. And Mirascope is your second company, if I am not wrong, which you have founded, right?
Yeah.
So how
Well,
do you, yeah,
same company, but just different products.
same company. Okay. Yeah. So how was this experience? Was it scary experience leaving Google, founding your own company? How would you describe that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely scary leaving the nest. Um,
Yeah,
it never feels like the right time, and also they pay very well, so you can feel locked
that
in. But I don't know. I hit a point where I felt like I was at a point in my life where I wanted to work very hard, and I didn't feel like my hard work was rewarded. Um, and I think I hit a point where I felt like really the only way for my hard work to be properly rewarded would be to start my own company. Um,
awesome.
and yeah, it's been exciting since then.
Cool. So what advice would you give to, there are a lot of engineers out there who dream about founding their own company, but they are in some cushy jobs or they are at in their comfort zone, what should they do in order to materialize their dreams of founding a company? What should they expect?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the best way to learn how to start a company is to start a company. Um, but there's like preliminary steps you can take. You can always go join a smaller stage company, see what it's like at that stage, downsize again, learn the ropes at each stage, get a sense of what it takes, and then when you feel ready and like you've got the knowledge, go and do it on your own. Inevitably, until you do it on your own, there will be things you won't learn. Um, and yeah, I think biggest piece of advice would be to fail fast and learn, get things out there, get feedback. If you build in a black box for 6 months and it turns out the thing you built is wrong, it's really hard to get those 6 months back versus doing it in a month, getting it out there and seeing what people say. And, you'll learn a lot more doing it that way than, banking too much on the original idea.
Awesome, beautiful advice. So, how does a day of founder look like? Is it too busy, or you just sit there, keep dreaming? How does it look like?
I think it depends on the founder. For me right now, it's like coding a full day of work plus all of the additional things I need to take care of.
Yeah, so because you're a CEO too, so you're a founder plus CEO. So which role do you enjoy more?
I like wearing all the different hats. Building's fun, but the like non-engineering parts of building a company are still building. So I'd say the whole thing is fun. It's nice to have the variety.
Mhm. How big is your team, by the way?
We're 4 people right now.
Cool, cool. Okay, that's nice. So what are the future plans for Mirascope and your company? Where do you see yourself in, let's 1, 2 years?
In 1 to 2 years, I'd hope that we are like the most used and loved libraries for building AI-powered applications.
Cool, that's a good one. So what do you like to do in your free time? And are there any hobbies or interests you follow other than Mirascope and playing games?
Yeah, I like anime and manga. Um, Playing golf.
Okay, nice. That's a CEO sport. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to play competitively, but have since switched to just for fun.
that's nice. Okay, good to know that.
Yeah.
Uh, are you into the reading? Who do you follow in terms of writers or AIs? What exactly, who is your sort of go-to person or go-to social media account?
Yeah, I generally like to follow like the dev rails of big companies because that keeps me in the loop on kind of what the foundation models are doing. Um, so that could be Mistral, Anthropic, OpenAI, Grok. Tend to follow kind of those people just to stay in the loop on what they're building and releasing.
Awesome. Great. And I think we have covered a lot. I mean, I could go on and on, but I am conscious of your time. So any final advice you would like to give to the viewers? And if they want to reach out to you, where could they find you?
Yeah, best way to reach me is probably to join our Slack community and DM me. I'm pretty responsive there.
Sure.
You can join. There's a link on our website. Um, and yeah, I mean, the main thing with Mirascope right now is that it's still early. So now's the best time to help kind of lead the charge in terms of the direction we take what we build. Um, and right now, feedback is invaluable. So everyone that keeps using the package and giving us their kind of feature requests or, the bugs they find just helps us continue to make progress towards building the best tooling.
Awesome. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, William. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'll
Yeah,
see
thanks
you
for
around.
having me.
Thanks a
Yeah,
lot. Cheers.
bye.